Blessed love and peace. This is the effective part dos of weekly convo reasoning within our mixed heritage community on the joint that we record. I begin to articulate a consideration concerning specific outreach and network building, relationship building with kinfolk of additional constituencies. So the point that I was getting to eventually, intentionally, is a consideration of methodology, proficient, productive methodology in each group's, each constituency's work, whatever the realm of work is. And the consideration, particularly in this instance, is intergenerational infrastructure. And I was preparing to articulate the particular experience of the Lunar Collective. I think the Lunar Project Collective or something to that effect. But it's specifically a community, a group that focuses specifically on the experience of being mixed Asian and Jewish. And the insight that we shared for consideration, take it or leave it for what it's worth, is the benefit of researching, of studying, and being intentional and attuned with one's intergenerational infrastructure. Now, I mean, just to be candid and keeping it 100 and everything else like that, there are all types of nuances, there are all types of games and competitions and rivalries or whatever, even within the mixed heritage group. There are a lot of different politics, there are a lot of different allegiances and alignments and intentionalities and this and the other along the lines of race, ethnicity, socioeconomics, religiosity, and otherwise. So it is what it is. Can't deny it. It is what it is. So some are further inclusive. Some are further inclined towards building bridges. Some are very just satisfied and intent on just being comparatively dolo or just aligned in a comparatively immediate manner or exclusive manner. So there's legitimacy within each methodology. All that being said, just giving some insight, and amidst all the biases and everything else that I can be accused of and that kinfolk around me can be accused of, just recognizing this. What we observe in the mixed heritage spectrum, particularly amongst mixed Asian kinfolk, particularly Eurasian kinfolk, is a very latent but very strong colorism. That, I mean, just knowing about Asian culture, particularly East Asian culture, there's just a strong colorism. It is what it is. No hate, it's natural. And it's interesting how it manifests and how it influences and colors the Eurasian experience. I don't mean to be flippant or disrespectful, but how it influences the Eurasian experience, because just the whole civilizational paradigm of Asia, East Asia and Europe, there's a very distinct colorism between that. So for both those collectives to be rather coloristic about others is an interesting thing, but particularly East Asians and relationship with Europeans. So all that being said, the point is that we observe through the years that both European kinfolk and Asian kinfolk are comparatively northern culture kinfolk, and so northern culture kinfolk tend to be further involved and anchored within technology and the whole culture that exists around those elements and experiences. So there are advantages, socioeconomic and political influences, geopolitically and additionally. And there's money, there's investments, whether it's the Japanese League investing within things like the Habapalooza, or even investing in the mixed remix that's organized by Heidi DeRoe, who is herself a Afro-Viking. There's an infrastructure, there's a support, infrastructure support for particularly Eurasian organized and managed mixed heritage products. Critical mixed race studies is an example of this as well, to be honest. And a lot of the mixed heritage organizing in the United States is predominantly led by Eurasian kinfolk. So kudos and respect. But at the same time, there are biases, even if not immediately. Some Eurasian kinfolk are extremely accepting, loving, embracing of all types, some less so. So there's a gamut within that. The 100% mixed space with Philip Koo is an example of bridging between mixed heritage kinfolk from all different types of backgrounds. So there's the entire spectrum. But my point for this is this. When we observe like the leadership and where the infrastructure support is, where mainstream society from the Japanese League to academia and otherwise seem to be comparatively supporting and backing Eurasian managed initiatives. There's something there can be seen as like an infrastructure and a systemic advantage or hierarchy or something to that effect, influence or otherwise. But that being said, what we're sharing here is some insight and some consideration for the benefit of all kinfolk, and particularly Eurasian kinfolk, because whilst there may be in this generation, or at least at this moment, in the past 10 years, in the past 20 years, in the past 40 years, from Maria P.P. Root, and additionally, backing and support for Eurasian managed initiatives, what's beneficial to recognize is that the relationship that kinfolk have with mainstream infrastructure and ethnic communities is beneficial. But it's also particularly beneficial for mixed heritage communities to acknowledge, to learn, to research, to attend to the immediate intergenerational infrastructure. What do I mean by that? A lot of the support that Eurasian kinfolk who are managing initiatives in the past 40 years, from American Mixed Ethnicity Association, MAVEN Project, MAVEN Foundation, and additionally, it's even though it's tremendous and it's over the past 50 years, it's still very nascent in terms of intergenerational infrastructure. And when it comes to learning and knowing the names of the leadership before 1980 or otherwise, 100 years ago, who are the Eurasian leaders and civic organizers, and additionally from 100 years ago. And that might seem like ancient history, particularly in this day and age of just fast, and what have you done for me lately? But when we look at where the support for anybody is coming from, it's coming from those anchors within every ethnic group and heritage, tribal community and otherwise. It's coming from the anchors. And so when we look in terms of our mixed heritage experience and all our different factions or whatever else within our mixed heritage experience, we consider where is the anchor for Eurasians, particularly on this continent. I mean, we have the Singapore Eurasian Society that exists for essentially over centuries. So there's formidable infrastructure, intergenerational infrastructure in that respect. But when it comes to a lot of the Eurasian kinfolk on this continent, organizing in civic leadership, and additionally as mixed heritage kinfolk or mixed Asian kinfolk, we consider where is the intergenerational anchoring, and as influential and as quick as kinfolk can be to organize and raise funds to pay for conferences or events and festivals and stuff like that, which is very beneficial, and no shade on that. As quick as that, well, no, it's not quick because it takes effort and work and hustle and everything else like that. But as effective as that may be compared to what other groups are doing, particularly Creoles and Mestizo and otherwise. I mean, there's the Métis Nation, which is another paradigm in itself. But I mean, it seems like Eurasians are doing things, but at the same time, it's beneficial to recognize where's the anchor, because that anchor is what provides longevity and stability through the ebbs and flows. And that's what we're encouraging. It's not shade, it's not hate, it's not trying to grab what other people have or whatever else like that. It's a matter of inviting kinfolk to learn, to say, yeah, this is where our anchors are. This is who was doing 100 years ago. You can read the history of Asian Americans. There are a number of books that highlight the different organizing lineages and heritages within the different Asian ethnic communities, particularly on the West Coast, but around the continent. But even then, that's not necessarily mixed Asian. its specific ethnic Asian community. So, anyways, invitation to do that, to learn about, to study, to learn, to attune with, to honor the anchors of the Eurasian community. Now, as a contrast to that, or as an example of what I'm talking about, we can look at quote unquote Creoles, and by Creoles I'm talking about kinfolk who are predominantly of African and European ancestry, which is probably a large majority of the mixed heritage community or population on this continent. Many people. To be honest, the vast majority of any black folk on this continent is mixed. So large numbers, large influence. When you look at the leadership, W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, Ralph J. Bunche, Malcolm X, Alhaji Malik al-Shabazz, all mixed heritage kinfolk. Creole, for lack of a better word. Creole, just to be specific, is a specific mixed heritage experience based within Louisiana, coming from French, is it Huguenots or something to that effect? But Creole is a very specific, distinct mixed heritage community, but I'm applying it to a larger context, just because most of the other words that refer to mixed heritage kinfolk of African ancestry are extremely derogatory and bad news. So, just saying Creole. My point is this. Even among kinfolk who identify as black, there is an established intergenerational infrastructure for mixed heritage African kinfolk on this continent. When you look at HBCUs, and a lot of it is infused with government oversight and basic plantation type of mechanics, even philanthropy and otherwise. But at the same time, there is still an infrastructure. There's a tangible, specific, continuous infrastructure intergenerationally for hundreds of years on this continent that provides guidance and stability and support systemically for that experience. Now, amidst all of that, it's still extremely still fraught with a lot of toxicity and self-hatred, and additionally, but at the same time, it organizes and it funds kinfolk, particularly on the low. As much as I know, to the point I grew up, because things have changed recently, but I'm talking about guidance in terms of career preparation, academic preparation, vocational support, and other types of networking that exist for hundreds of years, that are built upon stories and struggles that are shared and significant, so that when kinfolk meet each other from different parts of the continent, even from different parts of the world, each one still knows the same stories, still knows the same legends, and still reveres and champions those things, so that the building that occurs is immediate and there's further longevity. And so the consideration is identifying that and cultivating that within our mixed Asian community, particularly amongst our Eurasian kinfolk, identifying the anchors, the intergenerational infrastructure, and with that becoming further solidified and rooted and independent, and at a greater parity of negotiation with other communities in strategic development and plans and projects, and additionally for the next 7 generations. So that's a consideration. It only took 15 minutes, but it might have seemed like 15 hours, but that's actually comparatively expedient given my track record. So we're going to keep it at that. We give all thanks and praise to the Most High Elohim, known by many names and beyond all names, Rastafari, all our relations, blessed love and peace.